yesterday.
I called her a complete pain in the ass diva. I did. Because she is. And that's not me talking. That's a direct quote from people in the Fever.
What is happening inside the Indiana Fever organization right now is bigger than basketball. It is bigger than one season, bigger than one roster, and frankly, bigger than anything the WNBA has dealt with in years. Because when you have internal friction leaking out of front office about the single most commercially valuable player the league has ever seen, you are not just looking at a locker room disagreement. You are looking at an institutional crisis that could reshape the entire future of women's professional basketball in America. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA in 2024 as the most anticipated rookie in the history of the league. That is not hyperbole. That is documented fact. Attendance records shattered. Television ratings climbed to numbers the league had not seen in decades. Merchandise sold out. Sponsorship deals multiplied. The Indiana Fever went from a franchise quietly fading into irrelevance to the most talked-about team in professional basketball, men's or women's. All of that happened because of one player. And now, incredibly, we are getting reports that suggest certain people within that same organization are actively working to undermine her publicly. Regional sports media figures in the Indianapolis market have openly referenced what they describe as sentiments coming from inside the Fever organization, characterizing Clark in deeply unflattering terms. Phrases have been thrown around on local radio and online platforms, describing her as difficult, as a problem, as someone who disrupts organizational culture. The fact that media personalities are attributing these characterizations directly to sources within the front office is what makes the situation so explosive. The question you have to ask yourself immediately is this: why now? Organizations do not accidentally allow this kind of language to escape into the public sphere. When you hear specific, pointed criticisms of a star player being floated through regional media outlets, it is because someone with organizational access is deliberately feeding that narrative. Information flows downward from decision-makers, and local voices amplify whatever message is being pushed. Here is where the old-school power play logic completely collapses. Clark is not just a basketball player in the traditional sense. She is a media entity. She is a brand. Her fans are not Indiana Fever fans who happen to like Caitlin Clark. They are Caitlin Clark fans watching Indiana Fever games specifically and exclusively because she is on that court. That distinction is everything when you start talking about the financial consequences of this organizational war. Look at the economic reality. Home attendance across the league increased dramatically in markets where Clark appeared. Television deals improved. The league secured new broadcast partnerships directly tied to the audience growth Clark generated. Entire franchises in expansion markets built their early marketing strategies around Clark-driven interest. This was the single greatest commercial development in WNBA history. And now people inside the organization most directly responsible for managing that asset are apparently describing her in ways that represent an extraordinary failure of professional judgment. The coaching dimension cannot be ignored either. Multiple credible beat reporters covering the Fever have noted that offensive sets have increasingly been routed through veteran guards rather than through Clark in ways that maximize her specific skill set. Coaches make strategic decisions all the time, and reasonable people can disagree. But when those basketball decisions happen simultaneously with front office source leaks that characterize a player negatively in the press, it no longer looks like strategy. It starts looking coordinated. And coordination is where institutional accountability must enter the conversation. Leadership means being accountable for the culture that develops under your watch. If members of your organization are leaking disparaging characterizations of your most valuable player to regional media personalities, that is a management failure. You cannot simultaneously use Caitlin Clark's image in sponsorship materials, sell her jersey in your team store, promote her appearances to drive ticket sales, and also allow your internal culture to treat her as a problem to be managed. That contradiction is not sustainable, and the sports business community is watching it in real time. The long-term picture is clear. Caitlin Clark is on a rookie-scale contract right now, but she will eventually have options. The WNBA's collective bargaining landscape is evolving. Expansion franchises in major markets are building organizational cultures specifically designed to attract exactly the kind of talent Clark represents. If the Indiana Fever front office continues down this path, they will face a moment where Clark has real leverage and real choices. The memory of how this period was managed will absolutely factor into whatever decision she makes. The irony is almost painful. The Indiana Fever spent years as a franchise searching for relevance. Caitlin Clark delivered relevance beyond anything they could have built on their own. And rather than constructing an organizational culture worthy of that, elements within the front office are responding with resentment and political maneuvering that serves absolutely no one, least of all the fans filling that arena every single home game. The WNBA is at a genuine inflection point. This is the moment the league either embraces its new commercial reality and builds structures that protect its stars, or retreats into the old institutional habits that kept it marginalized for decades.